Hey friends, it's Alex. Welcome to Somewhere in October. So we can get to know each other a little bit better. Let's go over some of my movie opinions. They may be popular, they may be unpopular. I don't know, you tell me. These are going to be very general to like the viewing experience, who I am as somebody who watches movies, not on specific movies. So you can leave yours below, but please do not make them movie specific with spoilers. Those will be separate videos. This is more general and you'll get the gist as I get going. So the first one, which I don't think is that unpopular, is that music can really spoil scares, but also plot twists. Often the music will start, trying to generate that feeling as a viewer. Like if they want you to feel suspense, you'll feel suspense. If they want you to feel fear, you'll feel fear, happiness, blah, blah, blah. But sometimes when there's a scare, the music really starts building up to it, and although it does catch you, you're still on guard, and I don't love that. Sometimes it's done well, most of the times it's done poorly, so it kind of depends. But another instance of this is when somebody's in a conversation and they're about to reveal that they have been lying the whole time, or like they're the killer, like something like that, or they're about to reveal that they've been evil or lying this whole time. And before the words come out of their mouth, before even their face changes, there's a tonal shift in the music, and you just kind of know that twist is coming. I do think it can be done effectively, like I said, but I also like to be caught off guard. I like when something just hits me, and I might have to pause, rewind, or be like, what just happened? I don't like the feeling of, oh, something's about to happen. Sometimes it works in suspense when you have a movie that's full of it, but when there's one movie with one big shock, scare, or twist, it kind of kills it for me. The second one is that we need better titles for franchises. Having a clever title that has to involve the number, I don't think is necessary. It's like Too Fast, Too Furious, even though that's kind of a good one. We don't really need to do that. I think we can say something like this is Friday the 13th second installment, but give it a different name. I don't think we need to have this numerology in the title or make the title some kind of pun or play on words. You can just have the 2 on the cover or the poster. And a lot of these movies are made out of order anyway, so can we get a little bit more creative? I think titles are a make or break. I actually saw recently, I can't remember what it is. It's a movie that had an alternate title and they decided to change it, and the first title was way better. So I just think people are dumbing stuff down or making things like really easily searchable without making it, I don't know, effective? Interesting, entertaining, creative. The third is that repeat actors take me out of the experience. Yes, I do have actors that I like to support and I like to see in things. And I feel like there are some actors that are really good at that. Like, I think of Matthew Lillard as one example. I think of the guy, Mads Mikkelsen, is that his name, who played Hannibal in the TV series? There are certain actors that don't over-dominate movies with their own personality that I can watch repeat. But then there's actors like The Rock, for example, who basically is an embodiment of themselves in every movie, and they're in the movie because they're The Rock. They're never actually their character. And so when I see these big names in movies or in TV shows, it just takes me out of it. I can't really feel the experience. I'm trying to think of what I watched recently. They just threw somebody in there to have them in there, and you could tell it was kind of a name grab. And the whole movie, it just felt like I was looking at somebody else. It did not immerse me because I felt like I was watching the actor be themselves in this movie as opposed to a character who is portrayed by this actor. So I think we just need to mix up the roles a little bit, give other people a shot. Sprinkle people in so we don't get, oversaturated. Number 4 is that shock value doesn't make a good movie. I think a movie with crazy scares or plot twists or shocks can make up for poor acting, but in a single viewing experience, if I watched a movie that had a really good twist or really good jump scares, but the rest of it was miserable to watch, I'm not gonna rewatch it. I'm gonna say, yeah, that was a good viewing experience, but never again. So I think when you are putting stuff in movies, it has to be very thoughtful and executed well. I have to compare it to comedians. Comedians will often say shocking things. A lot of their acts are to push boundaries in certain areas, and a lot of people do it well. They do storytelling, they have a nuanced take, there's a read between the lines. And then you have some comedians who just say awful things with no point, no setup, no continuation, no nuance, and they just said it to make people shocked. And there are some people who think that's entertaining, but I think that's very bottom of the barrel. So I think the same goes for movies. If you're going to have something that is shocking, make it valuable. Put the value in valuable, or put the valuable in value. However that works. Number 5, not every movie needs to have a lesson, and if it does have a lesson, it doesn't need to say it. This is something I felt a lot with the latest Beetlejuice. So there was a big undertone of this family dynamic and connecting with your family and learning a lesson and blah, 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 blah. That can be inferred. It can be an undertone. It can be something. But I feel like movies often think that we are too dumb to understand and that they have to blatantly say it out loud. It's like in a book, you don't have to straight up write on the pages, now they're a happy family, they've resolved their issues. This whole story was about supporting your family and that you're family no matter what. Do we really need that? Not every movie has to teach you something, because the truth is, something artistically done well will make you feel something and will teach you something. I just watched Premonition, and that's one of my favorite movies ever. I rewatched it, I should say. It teaches you a lesson. It does not say it. It does not tell you. It just teaches you it. And I think that is what I want more out of a movie. If it's a kid's movie, sure, make the theme very clear so that you are stimulating their little brains to say, you know what, I should be nice to my parents. But if I'm a 28-year-old, I don't need my hand held and I don't need to be preached at. You know, teach me something through art, not because you think you have to have some kind of big moment. And also, some movies can just be entertaining. I don't need to have a lesson out of everything. Sometimes it can be mindless. Not everything has to give me an existential crisis. The 6th is that I don't really like when people bring in real life. An example of this is in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Although I do think they handled it a little bit well, is they brought in the COVID masks. I don't actually like when TV brings in recent events or new things in a way that tries to make it seem normal. You're a TV show, okay? You can push the boundaries. You do not have to be in present day, and if you are in present day, you don't have to be living present day things. It's like when American Horror Story did the cult season. Although there are parts of that that I liked, I also think that because you're living it, we don't need that. You know what I mean? Just let us escape for a while. Number 7 is kind of like a silly one, but I think that they should always offer non-musical versions of musicals. Listen, I can sit through a musical, I can, but it often takes me out of it, or I just don't enjoy it, or I'm waiting for it to be over, or I enjoy the first 30 seconds of a song and then I'm like, are we done? Or not every song is great. Listen, if the story is good, give me the story without the music. I think you should do that. I think it will be better for everybody, because the people who like musicals would love this, and you would also gain an audience who doesn't like musicals. And I mean, if you want to be really crazy, make every movie that's not a musical into a musical. Kidding, but kind of. Number 8 is I actually don't mind when they don't stick to the book. So when you do a book to movie adaptation, I don't mind if you don't stick to the book, as long as you throw in Easter eggs to the book. I think the more recent remakes did this very, very well. The story is definitely, the movie is a little bit out of sequence. There are things that are very different, but all throughout that movie, there are these little Easter eggs that come directly from the book. And because of that, I was able to say, one, I almost get a new experience of this story, because you told it to me not only in a different format, but you also told me it in a different way. There's different elements, there are different things. But you basically said, I know that I'm taking something you love and taking creative liberty with it, so to show my appreciation, here's something for you. And you get that acknowledgement that I know this is different, but here's how to prove that I'm still staying true to what it came from. I just really like that. So I don't think everything needs to be the exact same, as long as there is alignment and that little bit of respect for the audience. Number 9, I actually think that we should normalize short films in the mainstream. I think it's perfectly okay to have a 30-minute movie, 45 minutes, 37 if it wants to be a random number, who cares? All too often, and I think it's because I'm in the YouTube sphere now, and I've also worked in YouTube, and I watch people in YouTube, I see people try to make videos a certain length because they're trying to gain watch time, for ads, whatever it may be. And you're like, you could have told me this in 10 seconds. Like, I get you're trying to monetize it, you're trying to stretch this to make it last, but it would have been more effective and more useful on a community or entertainment aspect if you just said what you had to say and go. So I think a lot of movies are so effective, but then they just drag in certain points or they add random things just so they can hit a certain length. I would rather have like 8 short films than a trilogy if it makes more sense to do that. I think that would be much more effective, and I don't think it's something that is super normalized. Maybe I'm on the outside of that, but I think we should start being more accepting of a short movie. I think there's going to be other conversations that come with that, but I really think we should normalize keeping things short where they can be short. And finally, number 10, something that you'll know about me if you watch my watch with me's and my reviews is that foreshadowing, especially with like symbology or almost recreating something that happens later but we're unsuspecting to it, is my favorite thing in movies. I love to take notes during movies, mostly because I'm on this journey where I'm trying to really appreciate everything. But I love when I spot something and I'm like, that's going to be foreshadowing. And I'm waiting for it or I miss it and then it happens. It is so fulfilling. And I think it's so cool because when something is foreshadowed, you can give something a second watch or even a second read if we want to talk about books. And then you can spot even more. Because there are some things that are included in a movie and you're like, okay, they put that in for some reason. What's the reason? That gets you excited. That gets you paying attention. Or after you finish and you go back, you say, oh my God, that's why that's in there. That's why they showed this sign. That's why they played this game. I just think it's so fun and I think it really engages me as an audience member. So one of my favorite things. So leave your opinions or your thoughts in the comments. Remember, please don't make it movie specific right now because I don't want any spoilers. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye!